What a great way to start things off. Thank you, Michael and Leon. Good morning. My name is Kathy Astemborski. I'll be the service coordinator today. And our minister, Reverend Dr. Leon Dunkley, will be providing today's reflection. Today we have a special service planned. Special because we're going to have some time later in the service to break up into groups for discussion amongst ourselves, so we can hear from one another about finding spiritual joy. The other special thing happening today is Maple Creamies, and there is a connection between the two. Over the past several months, the North Chapel Board of Trustees has been taking a deep dive into planning for our future. The board is very grateful for the assistance of Delia Clark, who has shared her incredible facilitation skills with us, and as we work to create a plan that will keep North Chapel vibrant, sustainable, and growing. Today's service was put together with the intention of hearing from you. The board needs your input to continue with creating a plan that encompasses your thoughts and dreams as well as our own. We thought it might be an excellent reward to provide Creamies to show our appreciation for your participation in this conversation. Hence, a Creamy for your thoughts. Your order of service provides an outline of the plan for today's service. We will have some time after Leon's reflection for some private thinking time, and then break into groups for discussion facilitated by board members. We'll then head downstairs for Creamies and coffee. We're gonna take what we get from everybody today and put that together, and we'll have a follow-up session on September 7th where we can share the input that comes out of today's service. So more to come on that. This is a good time to make sure your devices are in worship mode. If you're visiting today, welcome, and we invite you to sign our guest book in the back of the church. There are many announcements in your order of service. Always lots going on here at the North Chapel. Tatum will be here with the kiddos today, and they'll be downstairs for spiritual exploration. The children will also have an opportunity today to provide their thoughts on joy, and we look forward to hearing from them. The children will be coming back to the sanctuary at the end of the service today, so we'll all wrap up the service together. I chose the opening words today, Remember by Joy Harjo, because I think they beautifully capture the meaning of July's worship theme, which is interdependence. After the poem, we'll have a time of silence for meditation and prayer. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth, we are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life who have all had their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are active poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people and all people are you. Remember you are this universe and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember language comes from this. Remember the dance language is, that life is. Remember.
For to lay my head on your restless arm, I take my cue from the willow tree, for it don't break from just one storm, but bends with the strength that keeps it free. Can you try that with me? Sing from here. For to lay my head on your restless arm, I take my cue from the willow tree, for it don't break from just one storm, but bends with the strength that keeps it free. Thank you, Brave. Good morning and good Sunday. I hope this new day finds you well. Today is Sunday, July 27th, and this morning's reflection is entitled The Most Beautiful of Things. It's a midsummer reflection about you, about us, about who we have been together and who we can be in the days to come. My hope is that these words prepare us for a conversation that will take place and take shape over time, a conversation about the future possibilities of North Chapel. May we slow down and find a stillness that might help us listen to one another. To all souls, I say good morning. It's good to be together. It is ours now to dream the good way forward for this church. It is ours now to remember who we have been and to be aware of who we are and to imagine who we might someday become. It's a pretty big job, but we can do it. And we can begin today. There's still a way to do that, right? I know there used to be, the Beatles sang, once there was a way, remember, to get back homeward. Once there was a way to get back home. And I believe there still is a way, and so let us begin. I was restless and still exhausted, but my soul was not. My soul arose without hesitation to be with the waking of the world. And daybreak waited not for the rest of my body to be ready, and sunrise adjusted its timing not at all for me. And sunrise was beautiful yesterday, in spite of the fog that I thought that I was seeing. I thought it would burn off, and it never did because it really wasn't fog. Wildfires are burning in Canada. I was seeing the smoke. I was seeing the consequences of northern wildfire. I wonder if the smoke was smuggling fentanyl into the country. You know that the way Canadians can be with smoke. And I wonder how the smoke dealt with the tariffs as it crossed the border. I wonder if the worst of the smoke is now detained by ice. We live in interesting times. The sky was gray-green at daybreak yesterday. It was pink this morning before the rain. I heard the birds singing, but I needed more sleep. I got up anyway because my soul demanded this of me, and I went straight to work in the garden before sunrise. I went to work in the garden of my mind. In my actual garden, my physical garden, I'm working with more land now. My garden has doubled in size this year. I rented a rototiller, the big one, and I turned a bit of earth. After decades as an untended hayfield, it had grown a protective skin. It was hard to break through to the heartland enough to plant. As monstrous as this rototiller was, it barely scratched the surface. I had to get in there and turn the earth by hand. Spade work. In my spiritual garden, my metaphysical garden, it was the same. Over time, I too seem to have grown a protective skin. It's hard to break through to the heart of me sometimes. How is it with your gardens? This year, my soul garden doubled in size. There too, I turned the earth, spade work, and soul work. One has to do both by hand. One has to do both by heart. One has to do both with love and with tendermost kisses. Now I know that the spades are the swords of a soldier, a poet once wrote. Gordon Matthew Thomas Sumner, the artist we know better as Sting. He writes, I know that the spades are the swords of a soldier, and I know that the clubs are weapons of war. I know that diamonds mean money for this art, but that's not the shape of my heart. The analogy is a deck of playing cards, no wild cards, no jokers. He may play the jack of diamonds, he may lay the queen of spades, he may conceal a king in his hand while the memory of it fades. Sting is not playing meaningless games with us. He's asking us to listen in song and remember our history and tell its tale. We are poised here at the edge, on the verge of telling our own story. Can we begin to tell our own tale this morning? Not someone else's tale, but our own. For what we often do is follow suit. It seems easier to do it that way. We don't have to reinvent the wheel that way. We don't have to recreate the church that way. We just have to follow in the footsteps of those who have come before. We have to follow suit by doing things the same way as they have always been done. We call it tradition, and tradition is good. But if we only look back to the past, how can we plan for the future? What flowers that isn't planted at an earlier time? Nothing ever blossoms without time. Let me ask you a question. If you could choose what flowers you would wish to blossom in the garden of your heart, what flowers would they be? The rose, like the rose of Sharon? Lilies, like the lilies of the field? From the Gospel of Matthew, we hear, consider the lilies of the field, how they grow and they neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all of his glory was not clothed like one of these. A flower is infinitely beautiful, and Mother Nature is always its seamstress. Might we too be clothed in flowers? We, the garden keepers of our time. We, the soul garden keepers of our time. What would it be like if you and I were clothed only in flowers? We might stand out a little bit in public life, but it would be worth it. What kinds of flowers would you wear? Roses, lilies, irises, lavender, chrysanthemum, dahlias, aster, orchids, callas? What kinds of flowers would you wear?
Yes. Roses would probably be pink.
Sunflowers.
Sunflowers.
Sunflowers, because they follow the sun.
What a thing that would be, a most beautiful thing, to dress ourselves ever and only in flowers, yellows, oranges, purples, pinks, and in blues. The blues is an American storytelling tradition, one which we can all be a little proud of. A blues artist, contemporary blues artist, writes, I know that you wish that you could see in my window, and I wish that you could pull up the blinds, because I'm wearing my robe made of flowers, just me and my made-up mind. I know you want to walk into my garden and pull yourself up a big bouquet. You can smell my magnolia, but it's just like I told you, I'm in a higher place. Susan Tedeschi sings these words. Her insinuation is sexual and almost dangerous, as is so much of life, and it delivers something precious to the soul. What does it mean for us to be in a higher place today? What can we leave behind, and what do we need to take with us? Where is the path, and how can we follow? Will it help us to find our way back home? I want to return to the innocence that I once knew. The idea of returning to the innocence is epic. It is biblically seductive. The idea of returning to the garden has power these days. Oh, how I long to be blameless again, assuming that we were blameless in the first place. Maybe this is what we really want, to be let off the hook for the things that we've done, to be loved despite of our differences, to be loved in spite of our flaws, to be accepted by ourselves and by one another, to be forgiven. So often we ask for so much less than this. Most of the time, we only want to get back to the way things were, get back to the Garden of Eden, or back to the romance and the nostalgia of American memory. Do you remember the song The Way We Were from the 70s? Talk about romance and nostalgia. Right? Barbra Streisand and Robert Redford, there was a movie, it won awards, but the song was not about returning to innocence or Eden or anything. It was about selective memory, right? Memories light the corners of my mind, misty watercolor memories of the way we were. Scattered pictures of the smiles we left behind, smiles we gave to one another for the way we were. Can it be that it was all so simple then, or has time rewritten every line? And if we had the chance to do it all again, tell me, would we? Could we? Memories may be beautiful, and yet what's too painful to remember, we simply choose to forget. So it's the laughter that we will remember whenever we remember the way we were. It's so American. We're going to have to face this soon. We remember the laughter by choice. We are reminded of the tears when we have no other choice. But the tears are the nurturing waters that help us to grow, that let us flower. In a book called The Way Things Never Were, The Truth About the Good Old Days, author Norman Finkelstein questions the merits of selective American memory. He writes, "Since the dawn of history, adults have been telling young people how good and uplifting life used to be, and the young people have always smiled and wondered, was life really much better back then? And were the good old days really that good?" It's a good question. It's good to question the merits of selective memory. In a book called The Way We Never Were, American Families and the Nostalgia Trap, Stephanie Kuntz makes it abundantly clear, and so quickly. She writes, "Contrary to popular opinion, Leave It to Beaver was not a documentary." We long to return to the mythic past, to the way that things never were, to the way that we never were, to be great again. And we are finding that this journey, that this longing isn't easy, it's complicated, especially when we can't forgive ourselves and one another. Accepting ourselves and one another is so important for our growth, and forgiveness is the cornerstone of acceptance. Grief is foundational for healing. There is sole cause for this. Overcoming grief makes joy possible. Avoiding grief makes joy harder. Healing happens on its own time, but when it does, when we have become honest and come to honest terms with ourselves, returning to the garden becomes meaningful. We face the truth of who we are, and when we do so faithfully and lovingly. And we can find the way that leads us home. The poet writes, "I broke into Eden in the hours before dawn. I've stolen the apples that dropped on your lawn, and my spirit and my pride and my innocence are gone. But please, Mama, let me come home. We're flawed and imperfect, but we come home honestly." She writes, "I made back alley deals that were forged in your name. And I was dazzled by gold and the glimmer of fame, and you knew all along, but you never complained." We can come to terms with ourselves, but how? Where can we be that is safe enough to do something this extraordinary? How can we build a community that is tough enough to take the journey? How can we be sure that joy becomes possible all along the way? Once there was a way. Can there not be a way again? Joy is possible right here and right now. How do we nurture that experience? Is it not among the most beautiful of things. Listen to the rain, or to the sound of the wind as it billows over the mountains. Listen to the voice of a lover or the voice of a child, the voice of a friend in the making, a new voice of a stranger. We may hear new things, things we did not know before, because we decided to stop and listen. How else can we share the best in us becoming possible? How else can we listen soul level deep? So, are you ready to dig in a little bit? Are you ready to do some listening and maybe some sharing from the heart? Are you ready to do the soul work of speaking our truths with one another?